what's up, everybody? I'm Mark Hahn, the host of Inebriated Insights. Joining me tonight, producer Dave Stratton, Frank Castillo, and we have Christine Tarbett back for the first time in a while. How's it going, Christine?
Woo-hoo.
I would just like to point out, since it's been a while, that when a few months ago we all had to predict who the vice presidential nominee for the Democrats was, I say Kamala Harris.
Nice.
Yeah,
You got
and she's now riding with Biden. So
What did I say?
I don't remember.
I hope it was
Oh.
dumb.
It was a little dumb, I'm sure.
Perfect.
Are you riding with Biden, though, Christine?
That's the thing.
That's the
Yeah.
only car that you can get in now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm riding with
that's
Biden, but in 4 years I'll probably get on the somebody else subway.
Getting a hybrid or a Ferrari or something that's not.
I might not even be in this country in 4 years because God only knows what's gonna happen. So
Well,
I'm moving to
I hear
Portugal.
Germany's nice.
Portugal.
nah.
Portugal, that's nice.
Well, I'd like to live in France,
They have some
but
economic problems, though.
who?
I do.
Portugal. That's what I heard. Economic
Yeah, I
problems.
mean, I just want to, not live in Trump land.
No, we all don't. Well, some people do. But anyways,
Yeah.
Mark, who's next on the show?
Frank Castillo, a guy who did a podcast I really enjoyed. I don't remember the name of it, but at one point Frank was like, people think I'm a piece of shit because I work the tour at the Comedy Store, but actually I'm a real big fucking deal.
I think it's called Josh Rardo. It's a great podcast.
Yeah.
Were those my exact words?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
No.
'Cause I was like,
But
it
you
sounds
were
something
like,
I'd said.
people suddenly try to be my best friend when they find out that I host a mic. But before that, when I'm hosting the door, they just walk right past me.
Which is a real thing that happens.
So I'm sure.
And it's
Yeah.
hysterical. Because the mic means nothing.
So-
It's arbitrary. And everyone holds it to such... Anyways, what's up?
You got to be nice to everybody. To be a big deal. That's just an important rule in life. But somebody that I would be nice to if they were never a big deal at all, my producer, Dave Stratton.
Oh,
What's up, Dave?
How nice is that? I think that was a compliment.
Well, I
don't
know. That was so sweet.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing a shirt of the late great MCA Adam Yauch from the Beastie Boys. I just got this today. I ordered it from a friend, Tim Jennings, who's been on the show. His T-shirt website thing that he does, and it took a month for it to get here. And it had some sweet lyrics on the back from Sure Shot about not disrespecting women, and they didn't put it on. So I paid extra to have that on the back, and it's not there. So oh well.
You paid extra to be woke,
Exactly.
but it did not come through.
Well, he had some options. There was the that, and then also the one from Check Your Head. So what you want about cooler than a cucumber, which is a good lyric, but it's a little conceited, and it's not really me. And I always liked the Sure Shot lyrics for MCA. But anyways, we're getting way down a rabbit hole here. What's going on tonight, Mark?
So our drinking word tonight is anything having to do with protest.
Protest.
And with that, let's get into our first segment. Start. So, last time we did a show, we had just watched Joe Biden's speech. A week ago, we had Donald Trump sweating profusely for 70 minutes, clutching a podium, giving the most low-energy speech I've ever seen. And now a week has passed after that. We can see in the polling there's no bump for either candidate, really, in the polling whatsoever, which is really weird. Usually there's a convention bump. 2016, Hillary Clinton got a bump. She was up by about 6 points after the convention. 2008, McCain got a huge bump after the whole Palin weird fucking pitbull hockey mom speech. And it's been following a trend where polling has just been really stable this election season for the past 4 months. And so, Frank, I'm wondering, do you think that sort of this polarization and having so many voters have made up their mind already, do you think that's specific to Trump, or do you think this is going to be a trend that we see in years coming up with Democrats and Republicans, just more polarization among the electorate?
Absolutely. I honestly think it's going to be the WWE in the next 2 election cycles. Like, unless someone gets body slammed, no one's going to care what their policies are.
I feel like everyone's like already set. It's just like
Yeah.
there's nothing that is going to happen that's going to change anybody's mind. It's like Trump supporters will love Trump. Like, he could bite like a baby's head off on camera and be like, "Oh, that was all Photoshop. That's not real." And meanwhile, like, there's no way he's going to sway many like Democrats or any swing people, like, it's a zoot riot, swing
fucking each other's wives and
Yes.
voting Democrat or Republican.
Yeah, it's set on the same thing.
If Trump ate a baby on live TV, I'd be like, all right, I got to vote for this guy because he's going to kill my whole family.
so his scare tactic is working against you.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, that dude ate a baby. Let's fall online.
Yeah. He's going to stop us with his Gestapos and baby-eating bullies.
Christine, do you think this is more about Trump then, or about Trumpism, which is going to continue to linger on for years to come?
I mean, look, Trump is both a symptom and a virus, if you will. He's both. It's so great. It's like this machine that's feeding each other. You know, he gives them more reasons to hate liberals and Antifa, which that's not even how you pronounce it, but whatever. It sounds more foreign that way. But it's hard for me. It's a little bit hard to say because you take this sort of insane person out of the mix and you bring in somebody who is sort of a little bit more stable, and suddenly the president isn't saying, conspiracy theories and all these different things, but we are very divided. I mean, for me, like, why even Biden, I've said this, Biden getting elected to me is just a moment to breathe. Okay, it doesn't mean anything good is necessarily going to happen with Biden, but I just need to be able to like breathe for a couple months, just for a couple months before we can kind of see the lay of the land, because at this point I'm so disgusted by the millions of people in this country who are like, hey, 200,000 people dead, whoop-de-doo, and all this different stuff that I'm like, do I even want to be here anymore, even after, even if Biden gets elected? And we have all these Congress people being elected to come in and they have the QAnon Congresswoman, and it's like, these people are crazy and stupid and racist and fascist, and what is going on?
I'm glad you mentioned QAnon, because that's becoming more and more prevalent, and its ideas are filtering more and more into sort of the mainstream. People that I know who aren't necessarily Trumpers or Republicans, I see them posting things that started with QAnon, things like, oh, they're trying to make pedophilia legal in California, and I'm like, no, we are absolutely not. And I think that level of disinformation and this level of conspiracy theory sort of coming into the mainstream is going to make it so that we're more and more entrenched on our respective sides.
Yeah, and I think there really needs to be some sort of major reform on. It's hard to say, right? So I'm for free speech, but also like some people need to shut up.
Shut the fuck up. Well,
yeah. So there needs to be some major reform in what like our social media can disseminate. And there's a little bit going on in Twitter, but people don't have the critical thinking skills to differentiate between propaganda and real things.
Not at all.
And when you have a president who's like, I believe this too, and you have half the people, or at least a core group of people who believe everything he says, that is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, when people are posting like 8chan and 4chan theories, it's like, oh, you don't even realize, you don't understand enough about the internet to know that that's.
Yeah, I mean they started like we did a video on this, me and my friend Rollin, but like free bleeding as like
Yeah.
a real. They started that. They start that kind of stuff all the time, and people snatch it up and believe it. It's like, I never heard of trolling. I've been on the internet for a very long time, so I understand. But some people, they can't figure it out.
Well, it's like all the older people, like my grandparents and all that jazz, and so they're like, no, this is what, like, it's the thing I read. It was like, oh, you don't realize,
This
you don't
is
understand
not
the
real.
concept of, it's.
Well, so what they're doing, and I mentioned this on the last show, is that they're holding a shiny object in front of people. It's not so much they're going after liberals and swing voters to try and say, hey, vote for Trump. It's distract them with something else that's not Trump. And right now that distraction is pedophilia and sex trafficking of children, which are fucking terrible things. They're awful things, but what they're saying...
Which, by the way, is a Trump thing. I mean, he's engaged, let's be honest.
Fucking Epstein, man. Like, he's no doubt in my mind he's had sex with somebody underage. Sorry, go ahead.
But according to QAnon, he is the savior in that theory.
Oh, of course.
That it's Obama, Hillary, Tom Hanks, Oprah Winfrey, they're all raping the kids and killing them and eating them for their youth, which is strangely like that South Park episode where you have the Teddy Roosevelt guy who lured Shep into the pedophilia ring because they thought that was the fountain of youth. So South Park is essentially the United States of America right now.
I think they watched that and just took that theory from that, and that was their whole conspiracy theory. It's fucking bullshit, man. So, like, that's the one thing that I was going to say. The other is I lost my train of thought, so whoever has... Sorry. Yeah, go for it, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, I was dealing with that with my... my family, whereas I see like some older people that I know, I'm like, oh, you can't tell the difference. Like, I see you struggle with setting up your sound system. I can't trust you to know the difference between what's real and what's not on online. Because also, sometimes I don't. And it's like, I'm 30 years old and have been around to the internet for so fucking long. Like, the fact that, especially with the way with facial, like, they do that.
The deep fakes.
The deep fakes, So it's like, even with me, there's times where I'm like, oh, I don't know. So it's like, I know they definitely don't fucking know.
Well, here's the thing, is that you have to trust the scientists. You have to trust the medical experts. You have to trust the people who devoted their career into one specific field, and they create, they go follow the scientific method of creating a hypothesis and then testing that hypothesis, and then writing a paper about it, and then having it be peer-reviewed, and then having it be posted in like either medical journals or scientific journals with cites, notations, and then it becomes a theory. That's what we need to believe, not just some fucking nut job who can connect the dots from watching YouTube videos and fucking different articles that they found from different places. Like, anybody can do that. I mean, yes, and what it does is people don't understand science. They don't understand medical science, and so when you start spouting out this stuff that they don't have any reference about, it doesn't click in their head, so they don't believe it. It's like, how can we believe these experts? Well, they're the fucking experts. That's their job. They devoted like half their life in this one field. If we are to believe anybody, it would be them. But what happens is these people come out and they start talking to people on their level. Like, that's what Trump does with his supporters. They're all stupid. He's an idiot. He can talk to them so they understand, and so they believe him. And so these conspiracy theories come out. They talk to people that they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I totally understand. Yes, the Sasquatch does play saxophone and eats children while dancing with Obama, like bullshit like that. So they believe that shit, and it's not something to be believed, and it's sad because it's people that you respect, it's people that you know and that you love. They just pick it up and they believe it. And like, where the fuck are you getting this shit? Yes, wear a goddamn mask. No, coronavirus is not like the flu. It's
Well, agree to disagree, Dave.
yeah, but how do I know that doctorate isn't paper that's printed?
Yeah, I mean,
My friend from high school posted a video on YouTube. It's pretty. It was made on iMovie, but it's pretty good.
so wait,
there you go.
he made his own video, or
Yeah,
Like, you ever look on YouTube where they have those like YouTube videos? It's always like a dude who made it on like a computer, and it's always like super shitty
with like stock footage and like shit that he just pulled off of other YouTube channels and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I totally understand. So
I mean, it's about the same
I don't know.
in terms of expert level.
I work at a place that is founded on science, and so is Christine's husband, and
Christine's husband is definitely founded on science.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is.
He's Mr. Science himself. But like, when you work or in this environment, like all of this company's decisions is based on just science, and it's kind of it's relieving. I mean, there's shit that we're doing right now that is, I'm like, all right, this is a little ridiculous. Like now, coming Tuesday, I have to go into work. I have to report my temperature before I head in. Make sure to tell Joe this there, Christine.
He doesn't work there.
Okay, he doesn't go in.
I mean, he's
still
at
working
home.
Oh, he
Yeah.
can do his job from home. I can't do my job from home. But anyways, you have to report your temperature before you go in. And now they're saying neck gaiters are no more, like the ones that just go around the neck, which I love because it covers up this shit, and I don't like shaving, and I just want to have all of this covered. So now I just have to wear a mask. And like, I understand, sure, science, but it's like I've been going in for the whole pandemic. I haven't been sick at all. Like, I don't want to log on to my computer and report what my temperature is before I head into work, but that's just me.
Yeah, I get it too. Like, I've smoked weed with so many people this whole pandemic, and I've not. I mean, I'm a knock on, but
Oh man, I was sick. I'm pretty sure I had it.
Oh yeah, you
My
had it
dad
at the
had
beginning,
it.
But I
right?
couldn't get I couldn't get a test. It was at the very beginning. I had gone to a hockey game, and like 2 weeks later, almost on the dot, I got real sick, and I was like, "Oh, dry cough. This can't be good." And I was sick for 3 weeks. So
But I remember you were like, "Hey guys, I'm sick. Let's do some improv." And so I was like, "What are you doing? Wanting to do improv when you're
what are you
sick?"
talking about?
Like, there was
I didn't.
Yeah, you said you wanted to rehearse that one time when you
No.
were sick. No, that
No.
wasn't you.
That wasn't me.
That was before the whole pandemic started.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere when I'm sick.
Okay, good.
Maybe that was Reagan.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment.
All right, we're gonna
Chug
drink
it
now.
up.
Stop besmirching me.
Oh God, I'm drinking too much.
All right, guys.
Ugh.
This past week, people have been talking about red orange. This is a concept that Hawkfish, the political group that sent us all those texts promoting Mike Bloomberg, came up with. And it's this idea that statistically, about, I think it was something like, I think 40% of the electorate total is expected to vote by mail. And something like 60% of Biden supporters are expected to vote by mail, about 21% of Trump supporters. So we could have a situation on election night where, as they're counting ballots, it looks like Trump is way ahead. He declares victory, but over the course of the next week, as they're counting all the ballots, it turns out that Biden's won. And so there could be a lot of terrible consequences if Trump refuses to concede and starts peddling even crazier conspiracy theories. Maybe he proclaims himself as the savior of all kids who are victim to pedophiles. or something insane like that. There's no telling. Maybe he'll eat the baby space, like you said, Dave.
Yeah.
Christine, how afraid are you of this? And what do you think could possibly happen?
So I've been thinking about the election and how it's probably going to be the most nerve-wracking night of my life, or close to it so far. Yeah, I mean, it's a strategy, right? They're gonna say, "See, look, we said, look at this fraud. How come all of these mail-in votes are coming in for Biden?" I'm sort of terrified because I've been talking with my husband, as Dave has been bringing up, Joe Spar. But I've been talking to him about what I think is going to happen, and I have all these scenarios where like he loses, and then his supporters, all these crazy lone wolves, will go in and shoot up like grocery stores. That's a terrible thing I'm thinking about.
Totally possible.
Or totally possible. Or I don't think he can win the popular vote, but I think the same thing could happen again where he wins the electoral college. And that's terrifying because people are going to lose their minds, rightfully so. Or he could try to tie everything up in courts for the longest time. I don't know what he's going to do because he's completely unpredictable, frightening, insane, a narcissist, a psychopath. He smells a little funny. No, but
early onset Alzheimer's.
I don't know if he has that, but I don't know if you just saw. I mean, he came out and said he had a series of small strokes.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Well, no one accused him of it, and he was like, "I did not have a series of small."
I know, and I'm like, why not big strokes? Like, what's going on?
It's like it was the biggest strokes that you could ever have without dying.
God,
Those tremendous strokes like nobody's ever seen.
The best strokes that the country could ever see.
I just am gonna buckle in, like Betty Davis said, because it's gonna be a bumpy night, and I just hope. And if I believe in God, pray, but I don't, so I'll just hope. And I mean, that's all. I mean, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be crazy. Nothing is going to go right. I've never been afraid for election, but I'm afraid for this one, and that is a weird feeling.
Well, here's the thing: is that back in 2016, when the whole Hillary and Trump election went on, like everybody, most people expected Hillary to win. I feel even Trump did, because his whole like victory campaign, like he was all set on having Trump TV, his next thing, his victory.
Trump Tower Moscow.
Yeah, his whole victory like speech. His center that he rented was this dinky place. It was like not like him at all. Like he just kind of came off. It was almost like he was caught off guard. Like, what the fuck? Did I actually win? Like. And then Hillary had this gigantic glass ceiling building symbolic of breaking the glass ceiling. And it was a huge, everybody was just like, what the fuck is happening? And now it's going to be like, please God, please. And he's going to fight. He's going to fight for every goddamn vote, everything. They're going to have to take him away in a bodysuit, basically, like straitjacket. He's not gonna go willingly.
No, I think you're right. A bodysuit, just like one that's high cut on the hips.
Yes, yeah, total.
I'm sorry. That was a girl joke.
Yes,
the girls are good.
As a guy, I don't know what a bodysuit is. I just picture it just as
Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah, it's like a leotard kind of thing.
There you go. But anyways, something that's very restricting for him that's going to be chained up. But anyways, he is not going to go willingly. He is not going to concede. It's not going to be like any other election we'll ever see in our lifetime, and maybe not even again for a long time. It's going to be nuts, man, and I am super scared. I feel that if he does lose, there's going to be a lot of rioting from his supporters, and it's I don't know. It's going to be like the Purge. You're just going to have to buy the fucking storm windows that come down, the steel windows and doors, and we're just gonna have to lock ourselves in our houses until all this shit passes. But, yeah.
I was in The Purge
You were in the Purge?
at the Halloween Horror Nights.
Very nice.
It was fun.
Frank, you were sitting there catatonic with both your arms up in the air, rubbing your fingers for a while. What were you thinking about all this?
Can I get the question again?
So,
I was super baked.
So question is, Red Mirage, because of mail-in voting, it might look like Trump.
Oh, okay,
won,
yeah, I remember.
but hasn't counted
Yeah,
yet.
no,
Yeah.
he's yeah. I mean, he's done it before, right? I mean, he won he lost the popular vote, but won the electoral college. I think with him being able to be like, nah, you know what I mean? Like, if something like this happens again, even though it's even worse, and it's like later, people are like, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be like, no, I don't believe it, and then people will believe. I'm really kind of buzzed and a little.
It's all right. It's going to be nonstop, like, conspiracy theory nonstop.
Yes.
Everybody is, like, going to die now. It's going to be scary, man.
It's amazing to me, like, I know based on polling, he's the underdog right now, slight underdog, but it's amazing to me that it's clear from all of Trump's actions, he believes 100% that he will lose.
But he's going to lose?
He believes he will lose.
Okay.
It's really obvious. He was doing everything in his power to cheat.
Yeah.
And to sow discord. And if he thought he had any chance, he would just be actually trying to win.
Well, here's the thing.
Still engaging in
voter
suppression.
He's always played that negative card. I mean, he always goes to the negative stuff. So it is a little bit like, I agree. I think they're coming and they're saying, Mr. President, your polls are down. And then he throws a baby fit. And then he goes and says, how can I cheat? And they say, you could cheat in all these different ways. It's America, idiot. And
it's a very straightforward conversation for you between Trump and Bill Barr.
Yes.
He's like,
yes.
Sir, how can I cheat?
Yeah.
There are the myriad of ways.
Bill Barr. Sorry.
Well,
I hate everyone right now. So.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing: is that Trump, he knows if he loses, he's gonna go to jail. Like he knows what he's done, and
they're all gonna go to jail.
They're all gonna go to jail, and he's fighting for his life right now. Like, he knows exactly what he's done, but we don't know it. And like the FBI said, when they released that Michael Mueller, when they were Mueller,
Robert Mueller,
not Michael Mueller. I was like, that name doesn't sound right. Robert Mueller. When he said, if Trump was not in office right now, we would arrest him. Like, he's done so much shit that they can't do anything because they can't indict a sitting president. Like, as soon as fucking Biden puts his hand on that Bible and takes that oath, if he wins, thank God, please make him win. They're going to take Trump away in fucking cuffs and his whole goddamn family. And it's like they're all going to go to jail. They're going to have multiple accounts, like multiple indictments against them, and it's going to be a shit show for him. But
we know he's getting indicted for the hush money payments. We know that one.
That's just the breach of that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I know, and that alone would probably be like a year and a half in jail if he was convicted of that. And there are many, many more things that the Trump organization has done that are way illegal.
Yeah.
And they're all going to jail.
Yeah, it's a fucking collusion with Russians. It's mind-boggling. So mine's not working, but yeah, Christine, you know what's up.
I do, and I recently discovered that in the 1990s there was a book that came out, and I believe it was called. It came out in Russia. It was called like the Geopolitical Strategy or something like that. I mean, it was one of those really catchy Soviet Union style titles. Um, sorry. And it outlines how to take down America surreptitiously and through the ways that they're doing it now with all of this disinformation. So I really want to get my hands on it and read it because I'm fluent in Russian. Just kidding, I'm not.
She's
Um,
Russian. She's from Kiev, or that's Ukraine. Never mind.
that's Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know that if you watch 90 Day Fiance.
No,
Now
I watched The Great, which was a fantastic show, but
I watched The Gray, and that was a really bad movie.
oh,
But I guess my point is that this is something that has been in. This has been something that they've been working on for a very long time. That's and it's working. It's working here.
well, they say that Trump has like a book that Hitler, like a biography
His
on
speech,
Hitler.
his
Like,
speeches.
His speeches, yeah, not Mein
Yeah.
Kampf. I don't know if it's Mein Kampf.
I think he
I
has.
have Mein Kampf.
You have Mein
Hitler's
Kampf.
greatest hits.
You read it every night, there, Christine. Mein Kampf.
No,
No,
jerk off.
Yeah, but
Just during. Never mind.
go ahead, Frank.
Oh no, it's fine.
But,
some jokes, not all jokes need to be said.
there you go. But like he's taking literally a page from Hitler's book on how to persuade the American people and all this shit, like inciting violence amongst protesters, silencing the media.
Protesters.
Oh, hey, we got one!
Oh,
Good
we
God.
finally said it.
It's our first one. That was a bad word, but yet I'm still drunk for some reason. I don't know.
There was this meme going around that I swore couldn't be true, and it was a psychological profile of Hitler done by some government agency back in the maybe early 40s or late 30s. And when you read it, it's Trump. And I thought, this is a meme. This can't possibly be true. And yeah, it was like, never take responsibility, attack one person at a time, never concede that your enemy has any positive traits. It was just Trump over and over and over again. And it was actually a psychological profile done on Hitler.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
they're all narcissistic sociopaths.
Yeah.
So they all fit in
Yeah.
that same branch. Yeah.
Well,
Same
Yeah.
family.
Trump wants to destroy the Constitution and make himself an autocrat. Like that's just he wants to be a dictator. He doesn't want to play by the rules. His draining of the swamp is getting rid of what our political system is, what was established by our forefathers in the Constitution. He wants to be supreme ruler. Like he wants to be Grand Chancellor Trump, and that's his whole MO right now. So he doesn't give a shit. He probably can't even name like 3 of the first 10 amendments. Like he has no idea. And that's all Biden's got to do.
He can name the 5th. He can definitely name the 5th Amendment.
5th and maybe the 2nd.
I'll plead the fifth.
The 2nd, the 5th, and then the rest are all a blur.
Yep, doesn't know any of them. So, and that's
Well, I'd like to protest his
Yeah.
lack of knowledge of the Constitution. And I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the next segment. So, even though the good people of Kenosha, Wisconsin asked Trump politely not to come after the tragic shooting of Jacob Blake, Jacob Blake, I'm a little buzzed too.
pulled a Dave.
Hold it, Dave. Trump decided to come because he wanted to try to capitalize on it politically. And he went there and surveyed the damage done by rioters for photo ops. Trump has since disgustingly compared police shootings to missed putts in golf. And he said on Fox News, quote, "Concept of chokehold sounds so innocent, so perfect," end quote. Trump has really tried to capitalize on this message of law and order. Unfortunately, support for the Black Lives Matter movement has declined a little bit in polls, and more Americans, particularly in some of those Midwestern swing states like Wisconsin, are saying they are a little bit more concerned about having law and order in their streets. So, Dave, could Trump's message of law and order strike a chord with a portion of the electorate in these swing states?
I want to say no. There are a certain portion of people who are scared of this whole of protest. But what is really happening, and I think people will see this as time goes on, is that there are these piece of shit Trump supporters that are coming out of their rat nest, goddamn shitty neighborhoods and going into liberal-based cities, and they're inciting violence. They're starting the riots. People come out and they protest peacefully, and then these dickheads who say they're supporting police show up with fucking guns, and they start rioting. They start the riots, and then the right just blames everything on the left. Oh, they came out to riot, and they didn't come out to peacefully protest. And it's happening all over. It's going down Venice Boulevard, where piece of shits are coming out of the fucking boonies of LA. There are some, Republican controlled, not controlled, but areas where Trump supporters are at, and same thing with Portland. They're driving in their from outside outskirts of Oregon with their shitty ass fucking giant Ford F-150s, and they're waving their Trump flags around, and like these people are protesting in their cities. It's their location where they live, their neighborhoods. They're peacefully demanding action, and these asshats are coming out of their godforsaken places into their liberal-controlled cities, and they're just inciting violence and inciting people to act upon shit that they don't want to do, and it really just pisses me off. And I feel that most people are going to start seeing that as more and more stories go around. This fucking Rittenhouse or whatever, this dickhead who just wanted to... What was that, Mark?
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah. I got that name right. So
good for you, buddy.
Yeah. There it is. So he just came out just because he wanted to fight. He wanted to shoot some people. He's not fucking protecting anybody. He's a terrorist. These people are domestic terrorists, and that's it. They just want to show up, and they want to show terror. They want to fucking show their force and try to be vigilantes and shoot people, and that's
well has Trump's attempts at keeping quote unquote law and order have they worked? No. I mean
No.
That's the bottom line.
And
they have not worked.
And that's another
You don't know
thing.
what you're doing.
They keep on saying, oh, in Biden's America, it's just going to be worse. But this is happening now in Trump's America.
I don't know how, I mean, okay.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, Biden, like, people are protesting what Trump is doing. All this shit that is happening right now is because people are protesting the current administration and the things that Trump is doing to incite his followers. And so that's why there's protests. And it's just... Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was just about to say, like, Trump being president is like being in a relationship with a narcissist.
Exactly. He's a fucking narcissist, and that's it.
They do the things to inflame tension, to pick fights, and then they blame you for your reaction.
Exactly.
And then they also accuse you of all the things that they're doing.
All right, protection.
Yes. Deflection, protection.
So many of us have been in relationships with narcissists, so it's almost like doubly traumatizing to see it done to the entire country, and really the entire world.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's a downer.
It's a huge downer.
It really is. And it sucks so bad. Like, this has really been like the suckiest time ever. When he was elected, I like basically spent the whole next day in my bed, like bawling. And like, this was why we are here right now.
Yeah, we all predicted this, but we just didn't know when it was going to happen. Like, we're just like, well, our country's going to shit. And it just took 3.5 years for it to, or 3 years for it to happen. And it's just like, and now I feel like we're all so desensitized to it. We're just like, meh. But most of us are like, no, this is what we were fearing. This is what the fuck is going on. Like,
we're very tired.
We
I think
are
everyone
tired.
is very, very tired. And I think for me, in a lot of ways, what's worse is just seeing, like I've said before, how many of our fellow country people are complete horrible people. Horrible people.
yeah, like just
Bad people.
making America great again is just making America racist again. And like, it really brought to light, you know, when Obama was president, as a white guy, I am sad to say this, but I thought there wasn't, I mean, I didn't think that systemic racism was as bad as it was. You're just like, hey, I think we got this whole racism thing under control somewhat. And that's a fucking terrible thing to say. It's just like,
we got this whole racism.
I think we got
thing
this
in the
racism
bag.
thing under control, and it just brought to light how fucking awful this whole thing was. It just took a very racist president to come in and say, we want to be okay with being racist again, and everybody's like, no, this is not all right. And,
Not everybody, unfortunately.
Well, you know, normal.
A lot of people are really okay with that whole status quo thing.
We want to, like, those people want it to be racist. They want to be okay. And like, everybody who says all lives matter, like, they just want an excuse to say white lives matter, but they don't want to think that other people to think that they're racist. So if they say all lives matter, then they'll go ahead and they'll
the problem is right now is that life is difficult for a lot of people, white, black, whatever, because of a lot of different reasons, many of them economic. So what you have is you have the white people who don't make, you know, especially like lower class or working class or even middle class white people going, wait a minute, we're not going to give, we don't want this equality thing because this white thing is like the one power we can hold on to. So I'm going to hold on to this white thing as much as I can and screw everyone else. I'm not working for their equality because if I don't have this white thing, then what am I? You know, and it's gross.
well, it's narcissism.
Frank, what are
you know,
your
it's
thoughts
like,
on all of us hanging on to this white thing?
I mean, I like white people, and I don't understand what's wrong with just enjoying being white. No, I don't know. It's just, it's hard. I don't know. I really don't know anymore. It's like, with the way I've seen everything go, I'm fully just prepared for Trump to win, and then also just for things to go, like, if he just, I don't know, I'm just prepared for the worst. Is that weird? Like,
No.
you know,
No.
it reminds me of, like, you guys ever know the mice experiments that guy did?
with the
Which
you
one?
posted this on Facebook.
Where you hit the thing a bunch
acid?
of times?
No, the acid. The LCD, no, fucking the acid laced water.
Oh, was that it? Well, there's a guy who
Cocaine laced water.
Oh, okay. No, this might be a different thing. There's a guy who would do population experiments, and he would do it in big farms, but he would create huge, like, mazes and nests for mice, or for rats, or I guess it was mice. But he was basically like, what would happen if all of their needs were taken care of? So, like, food, shelter, all that jazz, and, like, the population exploded to the point where it was too big and all this jazz. Anyways, they talk about near the end of it, they all descend into chaos, and while everything's going into chaos, there's like a few people that are just sitting. They were called the perfects because they would just groom themselves for hours a day and not socialize. And I was like, that's what this feels like. I feel like I'm just in my apartment grooming myself for hours a day.
Well, here's the thing: is that we're in this fucking election is like none other that we'll ever see and that we have seen before. Right now, we're not voting for Trump versus Biden. We're not voting for Republican versus liberal. We're voting for democracy versus authoritarian dictatorship. There.
Come on, you can hear it.
Yeah.
Sound it out.
I did.
Authoritarianism or
Authoritarianism or autocracy. There you go. On the tip of the tongue.
Tip of the tongue.
A set of twin deck tape recorders. Anyways. So, if you don't want to vote for Biden, and a lot of people I know are just like, I can't vote for Biden because of his gun bill that he supported back in the 90s or his crime bill or some bullshit. Just, you're voting for the next Supreme Court justice. You're voting for maintaining the Constitution. You're voting for this country to continue to move forward. You're voting against a fucking guy who wants to become a dictator, and that's what you're voting for. So just swallow your pride. Biden was probably like the 5th person that I wanted in the primaries. I did not want him to win the primary, but he is here, and you know what? You have to vote for him. Like that's just how it is. You have to vote for him now, or else I don't feel this country's gonna make another 4 years. We will have our full fucking constitution just be destroyed. Like fucking Jared Kushner's gonna be the minister of religion. It's just they're gonna just completely take over. I feel like I'm a liberal Rush Limbaugh right now, like just spouting out fucking piece of shit conspiracy theories. But it's just like I fear that's gonna happen. I don't think we're gonna fucking last. It's
the water's turning the people Christian.
Exactly. It's bullshit, man. I don't know. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I think when you look through history, this is how it starts.
Exactly.
This is how authoritarianism starts. And I always thought, growing up, like, to be an authoritarian, you had to be brilliant. Like, you had to be super smart and calculating. And what I've learned now and what I've learned in studying history is a lot of these people were the dumbest fucks ever.
They're so stupid.
Apparently, no one took Hitler seriously.
Exactly.
When he came into power. Everybody thought he was a clown. And that's what we're looking at now.
Well, he was a criminal. He was, he was a failed painter. He had a stupid mustache. His hair was
small dick.
Well, didn't he have one testicle? I feel like he had one testicle. Maybe I made that up.
I heard he had a micro penis and it was like deformed to the point where he couldn't have children. This is what I've heard.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is that if the whole rise of authoritarianism, like everybody looks back and like, how could the people do that? Didn't they see the signs? And I say that, and everybody fucking says that, but it's just like we're living it right now, and we're gonna look back if this actually happens. We're like, what did you do to stop this? And these fucking dumb shit people who are just like, well, I didn't want to vote, and then you're like, that's how this happens. That's what I don't know. I'm again a liberal Rush Limbaugh right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna close this segment by saying I saw a really good meme for this. It was Elizabeth Moss, and it was just a picture from The Housemaid's Tale, and the caption was just, "I know, but I just really didn't like Biden."
Exactly. I saw that today, and it's sad, but it's just like, that's what we're going on here. So it's just like,
that's what we're looking.
Swallow your pride. I know any other election, you're just like, I can't vote for this person. He's a piece of shit. But you're just like, we gotta just protect the fucking Constitution. Not this one. All right, we're gonna drink right now, and then we're gonna go into who should fuck off, right?
Yeah.
All right, who should fuck off today, Mark?
I want to go to Frank.
All right,
Frank.
Frankie boy.
So like I've seen a lot of these like save the children posts where it's like, yes, you should save children, but I've noticed being like fetishized by like militia people, like women and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of like all lives matter groups, because it's like, you know, that it feels like it's disingenuous, you know, because they're like, we're gonna do this, but it's like, well, there's like real shit happening at the border. Like there's real stuff that's going on, but it feels like they're making up, like they're trying to tackle a problem that doesn't necessarily exist. Like it does exist, but the way they think it does is not. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just very interesting to see, like the whole Wayfair thing, where it's like, well, that's not real. There's real shit that's going on, but that's not. I don't think that's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought stuff from Wayfair, so
hopefully
hopefully there's no children in my house right now.
Well, it seems like Republicans are saying, we think the kids shouldn't be sold into sexual slavery, and it's like, no, we all think that. We all feel that way.
It's a wackadoo.
It's wackadoo. Christine,
Yes.
you should fuck off this week.
Anyone voting for Trump, because I hate you. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know how you could willfully at this point look at what he's doing, like it. I don't know how you could willfully ignore everything and you're still planning on, and there's nothing that's going to stop you. And you are making the country worse. So, bye-bye.
What about you, Dave?
Oh, well, I was going to say kind of the similar, but I mean, anyone voting for Trump would be like just hugely like anybody who's dumb, basically. I was going to say more specifically veterans voting for Trump because I don't know if you saw this before we got on our show. There was an article that came, or a few articles that came out, that Trump wouldn't visit a World War I gravesite. Name escapes me now.
Yeah.
Because they were losers because they died in war. And it's just like, how could any president ever say that? like what veteran would want to support this guy? I mean, I'm sure there's some veterans who are just like, well, they were pussies because they died more. But I honestly feel that most veterans would be like, that was my brother who died. He jumped on a grenade. Like I've heard stories from my friends who were in war where like we were in a platoon and a grenade came over a wall and my best friend took his flat jacket and jumped on the grenade and blew up and he died, and so he could save 3 people in a room. That shit, those people aren't pussies. They died helping to save our country, and Trump just gave the biggest insult of all. And most of these Trump supporters have fucking Semper Fi flags and are big, like, strong veterans, thinking that Trump is here to save our country for some reason, and yet he doesn't. He never served. He fucking deferred the draft for bone spurs in his fucking legs. He's a disgrace among all generals. Anybody who's actually served in Congress just fucking despises him. How can you vote for this piece of shit if you served, if you're a veteran? I don't know. You should fuck off. You should go take a giant fucking broomstick and shove it up your ass until you don't have any semen in you anymore. So
I was with you until that last part.
that very last part, you lost.
That last part, I'm going to be honest.
We'll get it.
You lost me.
We'll get it in post.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Well,
Broomsticks.
yeah, and he was also reportedly furious that they flew the flags at half-mast after John McCain died. My fuck off goes to two ladies who apparently don't agree with each other very much and really dislike each other. Those would be Ivanka and Melania Trump.
No, they don't like
Ivanka,
stepmom.
reportedly they hate each other.
That's fantastic. I love that.
You can go look for the clip where Ivanka walks past Melania at the RNC, and she smiles at her, and then as soon as she walks by, she's like, Melania has a
You're not
very
my
expressive
mom.
face when she chooses to have one. Anyway, Ivanka, her speech at the RNC was just a disgrace. There were more lies per minute in her speech than in Trump's. And the part that really got me was when she was like, "You may disagree with my father's communication style, but the results speak for themselves." I'm like, "Yeah, Melania, I can't walk outside my house without a fucking mask over my mouth. I have to wear a face shield and full PPE at work every time I go to work." Yeah, I'd say the results fucking speak for themselves. And Ivanka, it should be said, has made an estimated $300 million while she's been in the White House from getting trademarks to China so she can sell shit. She and Jared are grifters. They are frauds.
Wow.
Which brings me to Melania. There's an instinct from all of us. I think a part of us always wants to look for some good in people, some good in some group of people. So we've kind of latched on to Melania, like maybe she's the one half decent Trump.
Nope.
And according to the new book, Melania and Me, that is not true. Specifically, the whole jacket that said, "I don't really care," to you, a lot of us wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was wearing that to say something else when she wore that jacket to go to the border to see the kids in the cages. No, she fucking wore it on purpose. Apparently, she thinks the kids in the cages do great because they have drawers and they're doing way better than they would be in Mexico or anywhere else while they're in prison, while they're being abused. Anyway, Samantha Bee called Ivanka Trump a feckless cunt and then apologized for it. I really don't think she should have apologized.
No. I
think
agree
it's an
with
accurate
you.
statement.
Very
Ivanka
accurate.
Trump is a feckless cunt.
Everybody thinks she's
away
so
from this
beautiful.
civility politics.
She's not beautiful. Like she's
She's
fake.
okay.
She's fake.
Both of them, they're okay.
He's fine.
No, both of them are not attractive.
I mean, I wouldn't kick him out of bed, you know.
No. I think Michelle Obama's more attractive than both of those women put together. So.
Dave, yeah.
I'd rather fuck AG Barr. No.
Yeah.
I feel like I would hate fuck Bill Barr.
Yeah.
You know?
He looks like a pollywog.
Yeah, you just gotta imagine that it's John Goodman and be just like, yeah, I'm fucking John Goodman. Yeah.
I would want to fuck some
Wait, Dave.
What?
Is that a big turn on for you, John Goodman?
It's better than AG Barr.
I'm just wondering because you're like, hey, all you have to do is imagine it.
You know, if you could have sex with any celebrity, but what you wind up
Dan Connor. You would pick Dan Connor.
Dan Connor.
Hey, I'm learning new things all the time.
Yeah,
so
no, it's just like why not? You know, it's Dan Connor.
Well, Dave wants to fuck John Goodman. We're going to go ahead and leave it on that note.
Right,
thank you to Christine Tarbett.
Thank you.
To Frank Castillo.
Thank you, guys.
As always, to Dave Stratton.
No problem.
Pleasure as always, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.